Hey, so we're back for another video. My name is Kyle Simeon one more time, kpips for short. And today I promised you guys, I promised you that I was going to be working on an indicator. So the indicator is based on the strategy I've been teaching you, the kpips strategy. So, but during the weekend particularly, I've been working on it and I came up with a very simple indicator that I believe would be easy, help us to identify the right candle, the right time to enter the market. Another wonderful thing about the indicator is that when it comes out, it gives you a sound alert that you can also get on your phone if you configure it. So, so this time you don't have to guess, is this the right candle or is it the wrong candle? The indicator will tell you that. So the indicator basically is a simple one. It just has two colors. It has the blue arrow and it has the red arrow, just like most indicators you would usually have. So when you see the red indicator or the red arrow, it simply means you should sell. You should sell on the next candle. And when you see the blue, it means you should buy. So one thing I wanted to point out before we go into the video, showing you some of how it works on the chart, is that sometimes you might have as much as 2 or 3 candles at a row, in a certain area. What that simply means is that we have about 2 or 3, 4 arrows or candles that fit the description of our signal. So what you would do in cases like that is when you get just one signal, you just go along with that. You don't have to enter 3 or 4 signals. So just wait, as long as you've entered the signal and the other arrows are in your direction, you just flow with it. So and set and forget. Just put the 4 pips or 8 pips as a key. In fact, right now you're going to discover that you might also tweak with the settings. Mine is just to give you the strategy, the concept behind the strategy. So it's going to be perfect for beginner traders, but it's going to be way perfect for those who already have experience, who already understand what forex trading is all about, especially those who can identify a trend, because the strategy is based around moving average, and typically moving average is a trend following indicator. So which means that most times you will get much more result in a trend, and in a sideways market you might have a little bit of loss here and there. However, on the long run you are still going to be profitable on the long run. But again, if you are already an advanced trader, it's easy for you to identify a market that is sideways. And let me just give you that one for free. One of the ways you can identify if there is no trend or if the market is sideways is when the 35 moving average becomes flat. When there is no slant. So a trend, majorly, there should be like a slant, kind of, that's what shows that this is a trend. You see that going down way, or it's coming this way. But whenever the moving average, instead of slanting upward or downward, when it becomes flat, it shows you that the market is now flat, it's sideways. So anyways, enough of that. We'll be going to the chart, we'll be seeing how it works, just understanding the concept so that you can try it out. I really want you to try it out, and when you do try it out, tell me what you've discovered. Tell me how you would want to use it, or the things you found out. But this is what I use. I have different settings and different ways I use it. I just figured that this one I showed you is the simplest way, even if you don't know much about forex. But let's go into the chart and let's see how the kpip strategy works. Okay, so this is the indicator. You can see here, you can see this candle, you can see the blue. You can't take the trade yet until you get the alert. You must make sure this candle posts before you know. You can see this trying to tell us that we should buy. That's good. You see indicator kpips at GPB USD 5 minutes. It says buy. Then you buy. Usually you buy at the entrance of this candle. So this particular account is a demo account, and I can notice here that it has a very large spread. These are one of the things that might affect you, especially if you are trading, if you are scalping. This is a very large spread, almost 2 pips. This is crazy. You don't use, that's why you don't use brokers like this. So you look for brokers that have a little spread. Anyways, that's by the way. So I wanted to show you how this how the strategy, I've shown you how the strategy works, trying to show you how the indicator works. All right. Okay, so You can use the indicator for any time frame. This is, for instance, this is 1 hour. This is in blue. This is blue. If you see blue, that shows you that that's buy. When you see red, shows you that that's a sell. You know, buy. Writing is all right. You know what I'm saying, anyways. So when you see a blue candle, that indicates that you should buy. So when you see a candle like this, immediately after, as it posts, it will give you an alert. You do not pick the trade until you get an alert. If you don't get an alert, it means that candle has not yet been confirmed. So you buy, and whatever pips you want to set. The same thing if you see a sell, like you see over here, you sell and you follow. But this is just 1 hour. I don't trade on 1 hour. So that's not an ideal example. I mean, let me take off this stuff from my screen. So I think the best is just for us to go to the 5 minutes that we usually trade. Okay, so let's go to 5 minutes. So we can see, okay, let's just start from somewhere. Now, I said something the other day, I'm sure I've said it before. Typically, I trade either London session or New York session. In fact, I trade more of New York session more than London, but the strategy works good or well during New York and London session. The reason I think it works that way is because it's a US market. It's a US pair. So I typically trade GBP USD. So it's either America or pound. So I think, so there's movement on my chart. Okay, you know what, let's do it this way. I have an indicator that shows the session. You see this place here, it says New York. So that means currently we are in New York session. That's what this means. We are currently in New York session. So over here, I'm sure you see, let me see, I can show you that. You see stuff like you see over here, London session, meaning that that's the time London session starts. So that means this time, after this candle, London session started. So then when you see this then you see this blue, it means as you see the blue, you buy immediately. Now I wanted to mention this. I remember I have a friend, I usually use 4 pips to 8 pips. I believe that setting is good for beginners. Even though you might have some losses, on the long run, you always win. However, for those who are a little bit intermediate or advanced traders, you know how you can make these things work. I have a friend I taught this strategy. His own parameters is way different. In fact, sometimes he just targets 1-to-1, 4 pips to 4 pips. In fact, he targets he has a different way he trades it, and he has a very, very, very high win rate. You know, so the risk to reward is not as great, but he has a very high win rate, so it's still profitable either ways. So eventually you would find out, and that's why I'm giving this indicator. I want it to be this way. So this way you can actually track how you will want to trade it. So you buy when it comes like that. When you see, so like for instance, now you can see this, there's a buy here, there's a buy over here, there's a buy over here, but all of them are also still in the same area. So if you have bought this first one already and you are still in the market, you don't need to buy another one. It's still the same. I mean, sometimes if you win, you can win 3 or 4 trades, but at the same time, you have to consider what about if you don't win? Because you must understand something. Anytime you place a trade, there is no guarantee that you will win that trade. It's just a probability. And in this particular case, the probability works in our favor. There is a high chance that after taking a couple of trades, especially with a good risk to reward, you would always come out in profit. So that's what you focus on. So then when you see the sell over here, like you see here, sell arrow, you sell. Yeah, for instance, you would have gotten your 8 pips out of the market, you know, easy. You have gotten your 8 pips. Then again, you see there's another setup around this place for you to enter the market again. So then, so you decide your stop loss, you decide your take profit. However, like I said, I prefer what I've showed you. But again, you can always work around it. Because one thing I've noticed too is that when I use my 4 pips to 8 pips, sometimes it just gets to like 5 pips. It takes me out. Then it starts coming in my direction. And it will still get, so all those ones you can always work around it, you know. I gave you this one as a template, so, and that's the reason why I'm putting them in color code like this. So after when you back test through history, you can now see that, oh, I think this stop loss would be best, because I think someone asked me that question, that how did I come up with the 4 pips to 8 pips? Why can't I target more, or why can't I? Then you will discover all that by yourself, because you also notice that if you enter a trade, you can now as well just stay in the trade for 30 pips, stay in the trade for longer. I don't usually do that. I don't mind. I usually take the win or take the losses. It doesn't matter to me. Even though, you know, as a trader, I've been trading for a while, so there are even naturally, without anything, there are some trades I would just even see and I will not pick, because I just believe this is not a good trade. But I want to assume everybody here is not a is a beginner. And if you are not, better for you. You see, this is you see the blue arrow over here, you buy it. So it works perfectly, especially in the trend. You see this. You see here again, it enters. So you pick your trade. That also means that if you were here and you kept holding your trade, you could still be in the trade until all these points. But I don't do that. I just enter the trades when I see them, you know, take my 8 pips, get out. Some other people take less than 8 pips, depending on their risk to reward. I'll be making a video talking about risk to reward, you know, anytime, maybe, yeah, I'll be taking, maybe that might be my next video, because that's another problem. When you see this is sell, it means you should sell. You know, red arrow means sell, blue arrow means buy. So all of these candles over here, they're telling you should sell, sell. You know, so this is not the 4 pips, yet you'll get your 8 pips here. When you're already in a trend, no matter the arrow that come out, let the trade you are in finish. That's what I would advise. You know, some people, however, you can trade anywhere, but I would advise let it finish, because you can't just be jumping, because the real thing is this: the arrow should come out in a trend. So, but sometimes, because we are in a lower time frame, like 5 minutes, sometimes even the market is trying to sort out which trend is it trying to go with. So sometimes that's why you see you can have some false signal. You understand? So, you know, if you're here, you would have sold, you would have taken your 8 pips easy. You see the under sell signal came here, you would have taken your 8 pips easy. You would have taken your 8 pips easy from here also. You understand? So that's the way I trade it, you know, taking your 8 pips here, depending on your stop loss, or you could lose this one and win this one. It doesn't matter. So for instance, let's say you are using 4 pips, you could lose this one because this one went ahead as 5 pips. So, but you might be mad, like, oh, eventually came. So you can adjust your stop loss, maybe. But I may not have mind. I may not really trip, because another candle came also here and I won. So like for some people that want to stay in the trade, you might stay in the trade for, like, you know, this is almost 20 pips over here. That's like 1 to 5 or so. But I would have taken my 2 and get out, because there's another trade here. You understand? So this was a good day anyway. It was a trending market. On a trending market, you will make a lot of money. You will make a lot of money, and that's why I said, for those, you can see this, it went as low as that's why I said, for those who already have a little bit of idea in forex, might even do much more in tweaking this strategy to their own advantage, you know, because they know how to, typically, like, they know how they can spot out trends, or some of them might go back to higher time frames to decide where they want to trade. So typically I trade London session and New York session, but even the New York session, I stopped trading 4 hours before the end of the trading day. So on my chart here, that's going to be like, I stopped trading at 2000. So here Every day I stop believing. Anything I get before that time, that's mine. If I don't get anything before that time, that's all for the day. The reason is because as soon as we are getting to the last 4-hour candle of the day, anything can happen. So it's usually not, you might still get some good trades, but I mean, I'm willing to let go of that because tomorrow is another day. So you see all these other strategies, you see all these candles, you buy, then you sell, sorry. You sell, you make your profits, you know, you can adjust them accordingly. So not all candles, not all indicators, not all arrows will win. But like I showed you during the back test of 120 trades, on the long run, after you've taken like 10, 100, 50, we discover that based on the 120 trades we had, we discover that the strategy has, or let me put it this way, on using the 1 to 2 risk to reward setting and using the 4 pips to 8 pips, because in this one, so you can use 10 pips stop loss, 20 pips take profit. You can do anything you want based on how you want it to work. But the fundamentals behind it is very solid, because regardless of moving average. Some people will say don't trade with indicators. I trade with indicators and I'm profitable with it. In fact, the truth of the matter is that I trade with majorly moving averages. I have almost I have different ways I use the moving average to get results, and they work. In fact, maybe my next video I'll be showing you I'll be showing you some of my funded, the one I got, and I use moving average. You see a different setting, though I'll be teaching that one too. But I wanted to start with this one because this one is way easy, in my opinion. So you're just looking for a breakout of a trend and retest. So you're using the moving average as a trend line, you know, if you understand what trend line is. So some people can draw their trend line anyhow, but you know, if you try to mirror the moving average, you can see that from here, this particular 40 moving average is also like a trend line. See it here. It's almost like a trend line. Although it didn't cross in this particular place, but you see when it comes down, as soon as it touches, it comes down, it touches, it comes down, touches. That's what you are trying to do. Only that now you are instead of you drawing moving average, instead of you drawing trend lines everywhere on the chart. Oh, I think I did the wrong thing. You use the moving average. That's the concept. So I want you to test this strategy. I want you to test this indicator. I'll be putting it on the description below. Test it, you know, you can see it on 1 hour. It's 1 hour. You can work on 1 hour too for those that don't like lower time frame. It works on 1 hour also. You might just have to adjust your settings, your parameters. It works. It works. The fundamental behind it is the same. It works. Breakout and retest. It works. See here. See here. This trade alone, just this one trade would have given you over 100 pips. It works. Regardless of the time frame. You just have to figure. Like I can see this space now. I told you something the other time. And whenever the moving average is flat, it shows you that there's no movement. There's nothing going on. You know, it shows you that there's no trend. So for an advanced trader, they might know what to do in places like this. But regardless, eventually on the long run, look at this now. So let's say this one says you should sell and you lost here, fine. But this one that now says you should buy, if you bought some call, you would have gotten something good out of the market. You know, so that's the concept. You can't always win, but with the right parameters and settings, you should be fine. I think we entered the trade the other time. Let's see how that is going. Okay, we are still there. I didn't even put let me put my stop loss 4 pips. Understand that this particular broker has a large spread. I just found that out. But regardless, let's just put it there. Let me see if I can get another example of I want you to see the alert so that you won't be confused on, let me see. If I could let me look for 1 minute. Okay, let's try this one. Mhm. Okay, oh, yes, we just missed this one. I wanted it to give us a sound alert so that we know. This one here is saying you should buy. But this is 1 minute, so I don't recommend that. This is our form. The trade we both. Oh, the trade we took, I think I did it wrong. It's supposed to be stop loss, supposed to be 4 here. Yeah. And take profit should be 8 pips. Let me be sure. Is that 8 pips? Close. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we got the arrow here. We enter. We are supposed to enter immediately somewhere around here, but the spread took us that way, almost 2 pips spread. But it's all right. It's okay. Doesn't matter. This is just an example. So your different brokers might affect you, but that's the way the indicator works. So I want you to try it out and let me know, because I'm going to be sharing much more strategy, but I'll be encouraged if I know that at least you are trying these strategies out. And if you have questions, you can always ask me. Probably I'll put my email address there. Or, like I said, I'm going to be setting up a Telegram channel very soon where we can ask all questions. But in the meantime, you can put them in the chat so that if there's anything I need to do, I might answer you, or I may make another video to clarify some of these questions you have. Okay, have a nice one. May the peep be with us. See you later. All right, so that's the video right there. So we have the indicator over there. The blue is for buy, the red is for sell, like I've explained. So what the indicator just shows you, it shows you which candles, or the candles that fit into the description of the strategy. So whenever you see the arrow, it shows this candle fits the description. You do not place the trade until the candle has, until the arrow has been pasted, because until then it will still be moving. But when it pastes, it doesn't repaint. It doesn't repaint at all. If it's, and that's the good thing about it. So it's easy for you to backtest a strategy like this, because if it loses or it wins, it's not going to change. It's not going to start recalculating like some other repainting strategies. It's easy for you to know, oh, this one failed, this one won, and that's why it will be better for you to even know, oh, what could I have done better in a situation like this? Could I have, increased my stop loss or reduced my take profit? You work it out anyhow you want to work it out. I trade it differently, and I've taught it to a few of my students, and they trade it differently. In fact, there's one of them that the same strategy trades it way differently and is highly profitable. I mean, highly profitable. His win rate is crazy. His win rate is almost unbelievable. But the truth of the matter is that his risk to reward so is not high, but his win rate is really high. Because he doesn't target for too much. Sometimes he just says, most of the time, he just targets 1-to-1. But he has a very high win rate, because even if you look at it, you will discover that depending on how you check it out, 1-to-1 would win almost every time. I don't trade it that way, because, but you try it out. So that's the concept of a strategy. Before you would say it doesn't work, before you say, oh, this or that, make sure you try it out over a series of trades, because one temptation that you might get into is that when you enter a trade or place a trade 1 or 2 or 3 times and you lose, you might say, oh, the strategy doesn't work, oh, it doesn't work. Before you can say that, you must at least have tested it over a series of trades. And that's why I even like 5 minutes, because there you have enough trades to place. So test over a series of trades. I've used this strategy. I've used it to win. And in fact, probably I'll be showing you one of the accounts I won with a strategy close to this, and it's profitable, especially if you get your risk to reward right and you know what you are doing. So I want you to test it. That it just gave me an alert right now, so that means I should be checking the trade. So when that trade comes, I like you enter this stuff, and let me know what you feel. Let me know your win rate, or let me know your struggles, or also let me know any challenges you might be having. I might have 1 or 2 other filters I might give to you. In fact, I have filters I want to give to you, but I want you to try this one first. So if you now have challenges in depth, maybe those are the things we'll be addressing in my Telegram channel when I eventually open it. For now, I'm still trying to bring out the content so that we can have as many strategies to talk about by the time we have the Telegram channel. So for now, I want you to please like, share, subscribe, and comment in this comment section. If you have any questions, I'll be ready to answer those questions. Have a wonderful day. May the peep be with us.